Present.
Vice Chairman Forrest Reynolds.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Ezequiel Reina. Director Alonso Cantu. Director Juan Carlos del Ángel.
Here.
Director Frank Pardo.
Here.
And Director Joaquin Spammer.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we do the invocation?
Dear Father God, we come together this day to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. Help us make wise decisions for the good of all that place their trust and confidence in our leadership. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Eli, would you go ahead and do the proclamation for Director Moxie?
Mr. Chairman, I believe Director Moxie hasn't been able to join us. Looking to see if he's been able to log in. We'll just check real quick. We do not see him on the call. I guess we can defer. I spoke to him yesterday. He said he would be on. Sent him a reminder this afternoon, but he may have gotten tied up. We can defer the proclamation to the next morning. And he's in it.
That'll be great. Okay, we do have established a quorum for a regular board meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, is there any public comment?
No, sir, but we do want to announce the new board member that has joined us, Director Juan Carlos del Ángel, was appointed by Commissioner Eddie Cantu. We gave him his administrative oath of office last week, and so he's joining us for his first board meeting.
Great.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, Juan Carlos.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You'll learn a
Welcome.
lot, and you'll do well here. Hold on one second, guys. Send Chairman Cantu the number, please.
Yes, sir.
Gilad.
Yes, sir, we will.
With that, can we start on with our reports?
Yes, sir. The first item on the agenda is a report on program manager activity for the 365 Tollway project and the IBTC environmental clearance document. Eric Davila will give you a report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Eric.
I'll be sharing the screen here in just a moment. Up on the screen, you should see the title to the PM report. I'm going to go ahead and make that fit the screen. We typically start with 365 tollway progress. So I'm going to go ahead and go to slide number 6. Usually for the start. So on the overall project schedule for 365, we've already gone through many of the key milestones to get to construction. We still have many milestones in between to get to, but just from the overall 50,000 foot view, we did close on the toll revenue bonds earlier this month. That was done on February the 10th. We have already provided NTP, but we'll commence construction in earnest mid-March. The contractor, even though their NTP was already mid-February, took the first 30 days to initiate final design on the value engineering change proposal that made us going into construction possible. So they've been submitting essentially work product on that and have provided concepts that the RMA and the environmental team will take forth before TxDOT when we do our due diligence on environmental reevaluations that may have to take place on some of these concepts, all of which were vetted during the VECP stage that we undertook at the end of last year. So essentially, we anticipate to get rolling with full construction mid next month. There's still plenty of area for them to work in, despite them doing some redesign work on structures and packages. But there's plenty of underground work that doesn't change at all with these VECP concepts, and so there's plenty for them to get going. We still anticipate that they finish that the facility can be substantially complete within those 1,264 days. We still intend to start operations January 1st. And so there'll be a few months there at the end of 2025 in which we'll be kicking the tires on toll operation systems, toll collection systems, and getting the public accustomed and oriented as to where the facility is located and the convenience of being able to use it. So there'll be a few months there of a grace period to get the rollout going before the public. Any questions on 365 and or the overall master schedule?
Do you foresee any delays in this at all?
We do not. I mean, the contractor's been very expedient in providing background information. We have also been working very closely with all stakeholders. In particular, TxDOT has been, there in the driver's seat with us, or the passenger seat in this case. They've been along for the ride. So none of these concepts are really, that different from what they've already seen. We anticipate that the more informed they are, the better we can take that message up through the environmental ladder and close any gaps and make sure that within this next couple of months where there's going to be a big emphasis on designing, that there's enough work for the contractor to be doing in the field. So that we anticipate no overall slowdown to the production schedule. Contractor is aware of that going into this construction, that it's kind of a hybrid thing. To be doing a lot of underground construction in the first year, irrigation work, line work, all that. You don't need the final bridge designs for that. So there's some leeway there for them to work in parallel to do final designs. And some of the items that we have before the board for consideration today are to help expedite those reviews. One of them is for the GEC to do quality assurance checks on the contractor. If you all recall, the amended contract essentially places about 67% of the overall quantities and items on the responsibility of the contractor because their VECP pretty much touched over 2/3 of the project. Nonetheless, we still have a responsibility to review for engineering soundness and constructability. So we've lined up the resources to be able to accomplish that. At the same time, we've also got an environmental item on the agenda, which includes Banton's time to be able to conduct a very important scoping meeting with TxDOT, where they take a summary of all these VECP concept design changes and essentially present to TxDOT what actually changed and what did it. So we want to get them to a certain comfort level from an environmental perspective, from archaeology, or wetlands, historical resources, to make sure that there are no concerns, and if there are any, that we do the appropriate, tech memos and or studies to be able to clear that resource. And so we anticipate to get going with that meeting here very soon. And this item just helps us get there all the quicker. So unanticipated, and we're pumping away on all cylinders.
Great.
Eric, this is Frank. In preparation for the September 2025 open to traffic, I assume there's going to be some communication strategy that's going to be utilized for announcement to the public and so forth. I mean, or going back from September to X amount of months back, you anticipate you'll have a communications strategy?
Yes, in fact, we've kind of begun some of that outreach with, local stakeholders, other toll operators, namely international freight in the area. But more specifically, we also have an allocation in the operations budget, which starts ahead of toll operations to be able to have allocations for basically media outreach. So once we line up the final, look and feel of what that toll experience will be, essentially there'll be the communications to line all that up and to hit international markets, particularly like travelers that are going to come through the area that already use the international bridges and pay tolls. So Mexican travelers, logistics companies, and of course the local population, which will benefit from the project. And so there'll be a multi-pronged approach to be able to do that outreach and get that into people's consciousness, so that when we have that opening period, they can take advantage of that grace period and check the facility out for themselves. And there's also the word of mouth element that works for that. So we're looking forward to all of that.
Thank you.
Also, we want to, I guess, put on there the proposed or tentative groundbreaking sometime in April, right?
Yes, sir, Chairman. It looks like tentatively we're looking at the middle of April. We're still trying to get confirmation from some of the elected officials that are going to participate, but we're looking at mid-April for the groundbreaking. We're going to start,
Okay.
the contractor is going to start work because we've got a tight schedule for construction, but
Right.
We'll have the groundbreaking after construction starts.
Yeah, we just want to let all the board members know so that everybody knows that, we are planning a groundbreaking, but it's just the coordination of getting on everybody's schedule.
Yes, sir. And on the IBTC, just very briefly, we're heading into a public hearing on March the 17th. We've already initiated stakeholder letters. I've essentially sent out the invites and the notices to the papers. Where we've already posted it to our calendar, so we're pretty much paper trailing and letting everybody know that we'll listen at on March 17th at the Precinct 2 Resource Center, which is off of South Tower Road, which is kind of close to where this lake is located here along the project. It's in that South Alamo area, so it kind of covers 2/3 of the overall project alignment area. It'll be a great space. It's we've done other meetings there with US EPA, and we look forward to engaging the public. For those that may not be able to attend or have concerns about COVID, we have the virtual option as well. In fact, it's a virtual public hearing technically with an in-person option. And the virtual public hearing, all the documentation and presentation will get posted the same day to our website. And the notices cover how to access that information, and provides a deadline as to when the public ought to provide their feedback on the particular thoughts that they have about the IBTC project. And so there's a deadline for that, and I think that by providing the online option and in-person option, we'll be able to garner the maximum amount of feedback and notice to the public about the project. Any questions on the IBTC?
So what's the anticipated clearance date for IBTC? Do we have something, projected timeline on that too? Or can we see something next month?
We do. I mean, for clearance, we'll have the public hearing done in March. And so right now we're working with TxDOT to pin down. There's a period where basically April 1st is when the comments are supposed to be wrapped up. There is a public hearing report will be submitted, by mid-April. So by the time the final EA is approved and that public hearing report is approved by TxDOT, we anticipate, June of this year. But, we meet with TxDOT semi-monthly, and, we'll update the schedule accordingly. But, they worked very diligently with us to get this done here in March, so that we can push clearance as early as possible within this year, so we can work on all the rest.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Eric. Are there any questions from anybody else?
Nope.
If not, let's go ahead and go to consent agenda. No, it's a report on 365 financing activities.
Yes, sir. We should have Colby Eccles on the line with Hilltop Securities to give the board just a brief report on the closing activities for the 365 tollway financing. Colby, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. So the bonds closed without incident on February 10th. On that date, the HCRMA received about 175.8 million deposited with the trustee. And we also refunded the TxDOT SIB loan that you guys had on that date, on February 10th. That amount was about 23.5 million. So you no longer have a TxDOT obligation, and you have all of your funds from the proceeds of the bonds for the project. One thing I would like to add is the interest cost on this financing for you guys was 3.69%. So it's a pretty good rate. You guys should be proud of that issuance. We certainly are, and we're very grateful to have been part of it. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Colby.
Director, I believe Director Moxley has joined us.
Yes, I'm on.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
So would you like me to read the proclamation, or would you like the honors?
Would you go ahead, Pilar, please?
Sure. So, proclamation, whereas Paul S. Moxley is a business and community leader in McAllen, Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, and Hidalgo County, where his contributions have been many. And whereas Mr. Moxley has a long and distinguished career leading some of his most respected financial institutions, and whereas Mr. Moxley has been honored and celebrated by the community for his commitment to service as McAllen's Man of the Year, the Rio Grande Council of Boy Scouts of America Distinguished Citizen of the Year, an inductee to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame, the recipient of the Easter Seals Oscar Cardenas Humanitarian Community Leadership Award, and for his distinguished football career, Monster Moxley was inducted into the Rio Grande Valley Sports Hall of Fame. And whereas in 2018, the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court appointed Mr. Moxley as a director to the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, a political subdivision created by the Texas Transportation Commission to address the mobility issues within the county. And whereas in his 4 years of service to the authority, Mr. Moxley faithfully worked with his fellow directors and ably guided the authority through the financing of the 365 tollway, the planning of the International Bridge Trade Corridor, and partnership with Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority for the development of FM 1925. And whereas the work of Mr. Moxley and his fellow board members on behalf of the authority is critical for the Rio Grande Valley region to facilitate $200 billion in trade with Mexico each year, which is key for creating jobs for the entire state of Texas. And whereas Mr. Moxley has made extraordinary efforts to improve the economy and mobility in Hidalgo County, and whereas the term for Mr. Moxley's appointment expired on February 1st, 2022. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors, do hereby extend our heartfelt congratulations and gratitude to Paul S. Moxley and express our appreciation of his service and dedication to Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority and to the citizens of Hidalgo County. Passed and approved this 22nd day of February 2022. S. David DeAnda Jr., Chairman, Forrest Reynolds, Vice Chairman, Ezequiel Reyna Jr., Secretary Treasurer, Alonso Cantu, Director, Francisco Frank Pardo, Director, Joaquin Spammer, Director, and Juan Carlos Del Angel, Director.
Thank you, Pharr.
Thanks, Paul.
I don't know who wrote that, but they sure spent too much time on it. But I do want to tell you guys, it's been a fun 4 years. I really enjoyed working with you, Pilar, and the staff, and all you guys on the board. It's good to do things together when you have friends that have the same thinking, ideas, and process in mind of where we need to be in the Rio Grande Valley. So I congratulate all of you congratulate all of you for a great job through the years, especially getting this project up and running. And it's just, it's a lot of work. I retired from banking in October. I've been traveling a lot, and I am just not going to spend a lot of time on boards or anything but having fun with my wife and traveling and doing a little construction. So I really enjoyed it, and I thank you guys immensely. I'll still come around and say hello to you, but thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet. Thank you.
Director Moxie, on behalf of the staff, we thank you for all the guidance that you gave us during your tenure, and we appreciate everything you did for us.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, Peter, let's go to item number 2, the consent agenda, please.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you don't need my vote, do you? I'm building some cabinets to take to Alabama in the morning, so I'm going to be out of here.
Thank you,
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Take care.
Safe trip.
Okay, guys.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.
All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine, are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
If there are no questions, I can entertain a motion for the approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Alonso, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Frank, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Let's go to resolution 2022-09, consideration and approval of the work authority number 9 with Banton and Associates for the Environmental Services for conducting an environmental assessment and reevaluation scoping meeting for the updated design under the 365 toll value engineering change proposal process.
Chairman and directors, as part of the value engineering, we just have to go back and check our environmental clearance document and make sure that we didn't have any items or change in scope that would affect the environmental clearance document. That work authorization is in the amount of $14,706.32. Staff is recommending approval.
Are there any questions? If not, entertain a motion for resolution 2022-09.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Joaquin. Can I get a second?
Second.
Is that you, Forrest? All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2022-10, consideration and approval of a contract amendment number 8 to the professional service agreement with Banton Associates to increase the maximum payable amount for work authority authorization number 9.
Chairman, directors, this is just
So moved.
contract amount. Staff
Motion by Forrest. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Frank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 2022-11, consideration and approval of work authorization number 7 with HDR Engineering for engineering services for the review of the updated design initiated under 365 tollway value engineering change proposal process.
Hello, this is Gladys from Banton. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, I'm calling you.
Guys, we get some feedback. I'm not sure what's going on.
We're not sure either. We muted them. Chairman. Chairman, this is Chairman Directors. This is work for HDR to go back and check all the value engineering change proposals that were presented by Pullis and their consultants. This was built into the budget for the project. Actually, these fees are from the gross savings that were realized. This work authorization is in the amount of $119,970.68. Staff is recommending approval.
Are there any questions? If not, I entertain a motion for resolution 2022-11.
Motion to approve it.
So moved.
Motion by Alonso, second by Joaquin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
Aye.
carries. Resolution 2022-12, consideration and approval of contract amendment number 4 to the professional service agreement with HDR Engineering to increase the maximum pay amount of work for authorization work number 7.
Chairman, Director, this is just a maximum payable amount to the professional service agreement with HDR for the work authorization you just approved. Staff recommends approval.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Forrest. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Joaquin. All those in favor say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Work authorization 2022-13, approval for work authorization number 1, supplemental number 1 with B2Z, engineering from implementation of the new Ipwc material testing requirements.
Chairman and Directors, you previously awarded the construction, this is construction material testing as part of the 365 tollway. B2Z was assigned the levy relocations. Their original work was in the amount of $201,143.26. That was based at the time on testing frequency given to us by the International Boundaries and Water Commission. Since then, the IBWC has updated their testing frequency, and they've basically increased their frequency tenfold. So if before we were required to perform 20 tests, now we're required to perform 200 tests. And the long and short of it is if we don't comply with this testing frequency, they will not certify any of the levies, IBWC levies that we're relocating as part of the project. So based on the new frequency required by the IBWC, the revised supplemental 1 to the work authorization 1 revises the amount to $1,668,747.42. Staff recommends approval.
Be lot on that. Is it in our budget?
Yes, sir. We have enough contingency that we can absorb that into our budget. And basically, the long and short of it is that we require the levies to be certified after we build them. If not, we'll be in the levy business for a while till we've got to comply with the testing requirements.
Yeah, didn't make much sense. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
If there are any other questions for resolution 20-22-13, not entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve it.
I have a motion by Joaquin. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by, I guess, Alonso. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2022-14, consideration and approval of work authorization number 2 with B2Z Engineering for material testing services on proposed wetland mitigation for the 365 tollway project.
Sir, Chairman, Directors, as part of our permitting process for the 365 tollway, we've got to mitigate some wetland that we are impacting as part of the project. If you recall, we have a land bank that the authority purchased, and we'll be converting approximately 25 acres into wetland. And so there's some improvements that will be required, and this is the construction material testing for those improvements as part of the wetland mitigation. The work authorization is in the amount of $76,771.98.
Did I get a motion for the approval of the proposed services?
So moved.
Motion by Forrest. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alonso. All in favor say aye.
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 Same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2022-15, consideration and approval of contract amendment number 1 with B2Z Engineering to increase the maximum payable amount for work authorization number 1, supplemental number 1, and work authorization number 2.
Yeah, Chairman Director, this is just to increase the maximum payable amount for the 2 work authorizations that you've just approved. So the revised work authorization amount is in the amount of $1,946,660. Staff recommends approval.
Are there any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Alonso, could I get a second?
Second.
Second, is that you, Carlos?
Yes, sir.
Okay, second by Carlos. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Pilar?
Chairman, so the last item on the agenda is under Chairman's report. It's that time of year for the annual election for the Vice Chairman and for the Secretary and for the Treasurer. Those are actually three separate positions. However, the bylaws allow for the Secretary and Treasurer to be combined into one office. And historically, the Board of Directors has combined those into one office and appointed one board member to serve the two positions. Your current Vice Chairman is Director Forrest Reynolds, and the current Secretary Treasurer is Director Ezequiel Reina.
I guess I'd open up the committee for nominations to serve as first Vice Chairman and then somebody to serve as Secretary Treasurer. So first we'd open up nominations for Vice Chairman. Are there any nominations? Don't jump all
David, I
in,
couldn't hear
guys.
you very well.
We have a nomination for a Vice Chairman who is currently Forrest Reynolds, and we're asking for nominations to be made for that position for this coming year.
I nominate Forrest.
I have an open nomination for Forrest Reynolds. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Joaquin. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then I have a position for Secretary Treasurer that's currently held by Zeke Reina. Are there any open nominations for that position for this year?
David, this is Forrest. I nominate Zeke Reina for Secretary Treasurer.
Okay, I have a nomination. Are there any other nominations? If not, I ask the nomination cease and I get a motion for approval.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
I have a motion by Joaquin and a second by you, Forrest. All those
That's
in
fine.
favor say aye. Alonso?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So congratulations, Forrest, to this high-paying job. And Zeke, that's what you get for not attending the meeting. And with that, I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment. Can I get a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to
I got a motion by Joaquin. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Carlos. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion carries.